Gotham Season 5, Episode 11, They Did What? So, of course, this is the penultimate episode of the entire series, and I thought it was pretty good. I liked the way they handled it. It was very interesting to see it end in this way because I didn't realize the final episode was actually going to be sort of a, legitimately a Batman Year One type situation. So, I thought that was really interesting. For those of you who hadn't seen Jeremiah as the Joker before, I'd seen, they put out a trailer about that. Even before this episode came out. So I assumed he was actually going to be in this episode. I thought they were going to do the Joker thing where, he does it a little bit early and then, he survives to go on to, to continue to be the Joker. Kind of like what they did, of course, with Penguin and Riddler. They just survive, whatever crazy thing, but he's just now there, as the Joker. But instead, we're going to see them do a time skip. It's going to be, years in the future. I actually read, as I was looking up to make sure I had the title correct for this episode, that they're actually doing a different actress for Selina. So she's going to be, adult Selina. So we probably won't actually see adult Bruce, at all. We'll see Batman, but we won't see, we'll see him, kind of growing up, and then it'll be like, okay, at this point, he's supposed to be, 25 or something, and it's all right, clearly he's still a teenager. So they're probably going to cut it once it gets to the point of he's returned to Gotham. So I don't think we're actually going to see adult Bruce Wayne. We might do it, they might actually do that, but I know they, based on the promo, they altered I can't pronounce his last name, but David's voice. I think it's Moose's. I can't really remember how it's spelled right now, but they altered his voice, so he's doing the voice. So I don't think we'll ever actually see another person, as adult Bruce Wayne. But we are gonna see someone else as adult Selina. So I thought that was very interesting because I was curious. I was like, all right, well, if it's supposed to be Batman, and they clearly even in the promo they show that it's meant to be years later with the time skip. I assume that the person that Jim is with is his daughter Barbara. He's grabbing a young girl, and I was I assume that that's his daughter. So she's a few years older. It seemed like it was almost 7. I would assume it's even more than that. It was just a quick glance, but we might get to see it throughout multiple times because they show him abroad, so they might show Gotham over the span of the full the next 10 years or so. And I think that would be interesting. I think that would be pretty cool. So definitely looking forward to the finale, but thought this was a good way to do it, and I'm excited to see where they go as far as this final episode almost being an epilogue a little bit to the rest of the series because they finish the final story out. They deal with Nyssa, which I thought was very interesting. Also, during that whole scene, admittedly, this is one of those things that I pay attention to, and I think we all do when it gets ridiculous, but this was definitely one of those ridiculous moments where I was they should have been dead. They should have been dead 5 times during that fight scene. After Nyssa comes down with the baby, or with Barbara, I was there's a lot of scenes here where they should have been killed, especially Barbara. So you have Jim, and Nyssa's he's mine, and she's whooping the crap out of him, which I thought was admittedly entertaining because he's trying, but I'm she's got centuries of training and all this madness, and she's just beating the crap out of him. And then we have Barbara who's fighting the other the goons, and she's taking them down, and I was okay, sure, she could do that, but this guy over here is just standing. And I'm he doesn't shoot until Barbara kills the other person. I was they're just standing around just twiddling their thumbs, just interesting. Oh, I gotta shoot her now. It just annoyed me because I was she's literally just hand to hand combat with there's 3 people. She's fighting the dude in the middle, and then the guy on the right has a handgun. The guy on the left, I believe, had a machine gun, if I'm not mistaken. And I was just this doesn't make any sense. They were legitimately just standing there, and I was they really should have just had it. I don't know, just have it where they didn't have guns. That wouldn't have made much sense, but it would have at least been better because it would have made sense within the realm of the fight sequence, or something where Jim kicks the gun out of the one dude's hand, and so Barbara takes care of that guy. The guy on the right side who just had the handgun, and then as the guy picks up the machine gun, that's when she's able to turn around and shoot him. And I was they were just standing there because it's not the guy was fighting against Jim. He was just standing off to the side. Barbara kills the dude in the middle. Then she kills the dude on the right side. And then she kills the dude on the left. And I was she should have been shot up like crazy during that sequence. But I was just whatever. It is what it is. But that did bug me because I was she should have been shot up a million times during that whole fight. Jim and Nyssa are in the background doing their thing. And Jim's just getting his butt kicked. With that ending scene, before they actually killed Nyssa, when she kicked him in the side of his head and he just dropped, I was man, she effed him up really bad. But ultimately, they end up succeeding, and they end up stabbing Nyssa, but she does end up surviving that moment. And, things gonna continue on. They get the baby, they escape, and then it's like, all right, well, after they stab Nyssa, she's like, execute the failsafe, so the general ends up killing himself. And then it all boils down to, admittedly, surprisingly, it kind of just came down to some people don't suck. Like the people who were on Bane's side, they were just like, well, there's like a bunch of innocent people here, and there's a woman with a baby and stuff like that. So ultimately, they decide not to actually kill anyone, but they have the their shootout and everything like that. Penguin loses his eye, so they tease that with the promo where he gets like the monocle and a fake eye, I would assume, but his eye was jacked up. That was super gross when he like pulled it off. He was like, "Does it look bad?" And I love that scene because it was like, "No, it looks." Let's go. And he was about to throw up. So I thought that was actually super funny. And I love the scene of them at the end where they were about to stab each other and they're hugging. It's like they both had the same plan, but ultimately they decide not to. And I was like, that's actually kind of cool. So I thought that was pretty sweet. But I love the way it was handled. I was like, all right, they kind of took care of everything. They did a lot of destruction of everything that held Bruce within Gotham. So it kind of made sense as well. They destroyed Wayne Manor, and then you had to destroy basically the original Wayne Tower, if you think about it. And I was like, that's actually kind of cool. It was another way to be like, all right, it's time for him to leave Gotham behind, because he doesn't have his home anymore. He doesn't have the place that his parents built, as far as their empire. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, all right, it shows what would kind of push him away from his own city, is that the two like foundations within his life, outside of obviously his parents, have literally been destroyed. Like the structures have been taken down, and even though they do mention that they're gonna be rebuilding Wayne Manor, it's gone for now. Wayne Enterprises is gone, and I thought that was kind of cool. It's like, all right, that it's a good explanation for how he's not really tethered outside of Selena, which he totally just left, and he left with a letter. I don't know, for some reason I was just like, damn, that's kind of effed up. He just took off with a letter, but he goes on his way, and he's off to become Batman. So I was like, all right, I like how that was handled. We get the name for baby Barbara, who of course is going to grow up to be Batgirl and stuff. And I was curious how they were going to do it, because I was like, well, her mom's name is Barbara. Well, why would her name be Barbara? Like, it doesn't make sense. Granted, I wasn't thinking about the fact that people do that for guys all the time, which even I don't like that much, and I have the same name as my dad. But I was like, why would they name her Barbara? And like, how's her daughter going to be named Barbara too? But the way they explained it, I thought was actually perfect. And it was like, she names her, Barbara put her name first, which I thought was funny. I was like, of course she did, because Barbara's like, me first. So her name is Barbara Lee Gordon, and I was like, well, that's actually super cool, and it made sense why she came up with that name. It's like, I want her to know, the people that she can trust. So it's like, it's me, you, and of course Lee. And I was like, that's actually genius. Like, that's a great reason to have her actually be named after her mother, because it's like, you can trust your mom, you can trust Lee because she's awesome, and of course Gordon for Gordon's last name. So I was like, that's actually kind of sweet. I thought that was super cool, and I love the way that they handled that. So I was like, that makes a ton of sense. So I was actually really happy with that explanation, because I was curious the whole time. I was like, oh, well, they named her Barbara. Like, what are they gonna end up doing with that? Because not that I can remember, but from pretty much all stories, Barbara's mom, like Batgirl's mom, is always dead. It's always just her and Commissioner Gordon. So it was interesting when the series like first started, and Jim is supposed to be marrying a woman named Barbara, and it was like, it would have made sense. It was like she died, and so his daughter was named after his mom, after her own mother. But that wasn't the case. So I was just always kind of curious, like how they were gonna kind of make it make sense. And I was like, like I said, I like the way it was handled. So that was entertaining. And just in general, I thought it was a really good episode. So I like the way everything was all said and done. Really looking forward to what they do with this final episode of the series. It's really interesting, to see it kind of end out this way, and what they're gonna do with the characters and what they're gonna tease. And of course, Joker is coming in, and there's a scene in the promo where he does get like a battering through his hand and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I'm just looking forward to it. I want to see what they do with Penguin. I want to see what they do with Riddler. I want to see if they kind of throw in some references to other characters that may or may not still exist, within the world. So I think that should be entertaining. Technically, Bane is still there. If I'm not mistaken, Nyssa doesn't, well, she's gone, but they never reference, Talia. I mean, it wouldn't even make much of a difference. I mean, the series is ending, so, it doesn't really make much of a difference, I guess. And I'm trying to remember exactly what happened with her character. I don't think she actually died, but I legitimately can't remember what the F they even did with her character. I'm just going to assume she died. Like, I honestly, for some reason, can't remember what they did with Nyssa's character, like, at all. After she got stabbed and she left, I'm like, I can't remember what happened. I know she got to the sub, because I remember her saying, like, son of a bitch, she was telling the truth. And it's like, well, they mentioned that it's a two-person sub, like you can't do it. But I legitimately don't remember what happened to her character after that scene. Like they have Bane doing all his stuff, but I legitimately forgot. Like I watched it earlier too. I watched it at work. But yeah, I was like, I don't know why. I legitimately can't remember. So either she's dead or she's alive. But I feel like she's alive because she got stabbed, but she didn't die. So I think she's alive somewhere, but I legitimately can't freaking remember what happened to her character. I just can't. I don't know why that's like just blocking in my head. So nothing must have happened. Like she couldn't have died because I would have remembered if she like got killed. But all that comes to mind is she got stabbed and then she made it to the sub. And then after that, like I can't really remember like in any way, shape, or form what happened. I don't think the sub exploded or anything like that. So I was like, what happened to her? I don't remember. So I'm just gonna go with she's alive. Like that's a terrible review because I can't remember like one of the most important things for the character that affected like the last 3 or 4 episodes of the series. But I think she's alive still, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe she'll pop up. Maybe she won't. If she died and I literally just missed the scene and I can't freaking remember. But either way, still enjoyed the episode. But it will be interesting to see what they end up doing with her character or with all the characters. I mean, with this little kind of epilogue episode and like how much we will actually get to see because they do have young Bruce Wayne as he like first embarks on his journey to kind of train with monks and all that extra stuff. So it seems like they will be jumping through different periods of time until he eventually makes his return, and naturally Joker comes into play and it's like, well, I have to be something. I gotta be Batman. Also, of course, the reference to the bats and everything, where it's like, here's like a beacon device, but it's got some glitches in it, so it attracts certain mammals, like it's specific animals. It's like a beacon of specific animals, and I was like, well, those animals are gonna be bats, of course. But I actually thought that was cool. I was like, all right, I kind of like that idea. It's interesting to have that element in there because that's something that you don't really see very often with Batman, oddly enough. They always do it. That's always something you see like in like the first episode or like the very beginning of like a first movie with Batman where they actually show bats around him. It's never really that played up when you think about it. It's like, okay, like the first time you see Batman in some new series, it's like, oh, it's Batman and there's bats flying around. They never do that all the time. Like it's always like, it's like a one and done thing. Maybe a couple episodes throughout like a series or something, you'll see Batman surrounded by bats, and that's legitimately it. So they never really play up on that too much. And I was like, that's a cool idea where he would literally like summon bats around him. But once again, the series is ending, so it's not like we'll actually see that play out too much. But I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, it's like a legitimate device. It's not like he's just poof. They just show bats because it's Batman. But I thought that was actually really cool. I was like, I like that idea. That's an interesting concept where it's a legitimate device, and the bats are actually like attacking Bane and everything, like biting him and stuff like that. So I actually thought that was really cool. But looking forward to the series finale. Sucks to see the show go. I really enjoyed it from the very beginning, and I think honestly this was a show that just really picked up, especially season 2. I think after the first season, which I thought was pretty good, I thought it was okay at least. Season 2 I thought was like just a million miles beyond the first season, and I think after that the series just got better and better. So sucks to see the series end, but I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode. I probably won't end up seeing it until I go to Japan, because unless it records, which I doubt it will, because once again, as I've mentioned through a million different reviews, the stupid thing just didn't record. It's set to schedule. I look at it every week. It's like, yep, set to schedule, series recording. Never records. I don't know what the deal is. I just never. I always have to watch it afterwards and just wait for it. So I don't know. I probably won't end up seeing the show until I'm like actually in Japan, or like if the plane has Wi-Fi, I'll try to watch it and then figure some stuff out, while I'm over in Japan the week after next. So hopefully that works out and I'll actually be able to see it. I don't know. I'll have to like double check, which I can't do because I'll be going to see Avengers. So by the time the show is actually premiering, I'll be watching Avengers. So I won't be able to like physically make sure it's recording. So I'm probably not going to have a review on Thursday night like I would like to, because I want to try to do all 3 of the shows. Or the movie Supernatural has its season finale, and then of course Gotham has its series finale. I wanted to do like all 3 reviews, but I might only get 2 out of the 3 because Gotham most likely won't record, even though it says it's going to. So unfortunately, that will probably be like a super late review, which really sucks, especially with it being the series finale. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm going to try to watch it as soon as I possibly can. If I happen to randomly have some downtime with everything that I want to do in Japan, maybe I'll do a review while I'm over there. I just highly doubt it. Like if I don't get it done, it's probably just not going to happen for like an extra 2 weeks or something. So just to let you guys know ahead of time. But Definitely love this episode. Can't wait for the series finale. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this one, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it, and naturally going into the series finale, especially with it being such a different sort of finale where it's more like an epilogue series compared to it's the conclusion to everything that's going on, all the madness. We're skipping through time, and we're gonna see the characters older and see how they're gonna kind of leave the series off going into kind of the normal Batman mythos. I would love to know what you guys want to see. What characters do you guys want to see them make references to? What random little plot points do you think? I highly doubt they would ever do this, but do you think they would actually reference other DC characters as far as like would they reference like Superman or weird stuff like that? Like would they pull that one out of there just because like it'd be like, hey, there's a reference to Superman or there's a reference to anyone within the Justice League? That would be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because they literally, it's their only chance to reference other superheroes would be in this final episode. So I feel like that's something we should expect. At least Superman, because everybody just loves Superman. I don't care for him, but excuse me. I think they'll do that, with it being the series finale. They'll make a reference because it's like, oh, you got Batman. It's like, man, we got this crazy dude, and Metropolis has, Superman, stuff like that. I feel like they'll make a reference. They almost have to, because they literally wouldn't have any opportunities otherwise, to just randomly throw a reference in there because everyone was younger. Like Superman was younger. You have the Green Lanterns, which technically existed, but none of them were like the popular ones. So they kind of have to make those references. It's literally the only episode that they can. So I feel like we're gonna get that, but it'll be interesting to see. They also referenced the Nightwing. That was the name of like the program that called the Bats in. It was called Nightwing. I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the finale. Like I said, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode, and naturally want to know what you want to see, what you hope to see, what references you hope they'll throw in with the this last little moment that they've got. So please put your comments down in the comment section below, and of course, thanks for watching.